Now this is how the teaser looked like, which some of you may have seen. Okay, we got metallic, black paint and silver. Some motion blur. This is done in After Effects with the plugin RS Motion Blur. Nothing complicated, I don't even need to teach that. So that's it. I'm gonna open up my project and run the settings through. Okay, I got car, I got 4 mental array sky portals and stuff like that, but I can remove those, and so I can run this again. Hit M, open up material editor. Now you may have some car model, some free model or something like that, for which this tutorial is going to be very useful, because in case of most free models you have to retexture them and work on them a little bit to make them look a little nicer. Or you can buy, of course, models which costs around $100 and $200, so that's also an option if you got money. Okay, so first thing, we want to make sure we are working linear. So we go to Customize, Preferences, Gamma and LUT, and enable Gamma LUT correction and set the values to 2.2. Now, to find out more about linear workflow, check my bubbles tutorial, which you can find on my channel. Okay, next we go to Rendering, Environment, Bitmap, Load Bitmap. Again, it can be any bitmap, but I like to use HDRIs. Now I don't need to tell you where to find HDRIs. Now use images on Gamma in this case, and that's it. And now you need to get the environment into Material Editor. So click on some empty slot if you got one, or override some other material. Get material, scroll down. Here you will find Scene Materials. Now this also works for Max 10, or I think all versions of Max. And there you just find your environment, which is here. Double click and it will appear here. Make sure the texture mapping is set to spherical environment. Yeah, the reason why we're doing this is you can move or tile the environment here, and it will essentially affect what is your color paint reflecting. So it gives you a little more freedom. Okay, next thing, we want to create a plane where the shadows will be cast and create a material for the plane. Now we're going to be using matte shadow reflection, which is a mental ray, a matte shadow material. Double click, and since this material is black and it affects all the colors in the scene, and especially reflections and refractions, and we don't want that, go to Object Properties, untick Visible to Reflection and Refraction, and drag it on your plane. Now of course you can set this material color to any color you like, but we only want our shadows to be cast. And then if you save your sequence or render as a PNG, it will stay transparent and it will block the environment from the edges of the soft shadows. So that's pretty much it. Now next thing, lights. We are using Mental Array Sky Portal. Draw a shape, move the light in your scene, rotate it. Now again, I'm not saying you have to do it precisely like I am doing it. Yeah. Graphics, it's about testing. Yeah, you just make some settings, adjustments, hit F9, check how it's looking, then go back, readjust, hit F9, and so forth and so forth. Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah. Okay, this looks pretty okay. It's kind of dark. Yeah, I like it. Now in the original example I used 4 Mental Ray Sky Portal lights, but like I said, this depends on you and on the result you want to achieve. Yeah, so maybe put one like this. So now one important thing, I've seen that in a tutorial where someone was scaling the light with a scale tool. Now this doesn't do anything. Okay, if you want to scale your light, you have to go to modifier panel and scale it in a modifier panel. Okay, because if you use scale tool, the only thing it does, it scales the geometry but not the actual light parameters. If you can notice, it doesn't do anything here, and that's important. Yeah, because the field of this light, this is essentially representation of the field from which the light is going to be emitted, and this is obviously the direction. So if you want to create some kind of a spotlight-like illusion, you'll make the light smaller, and if you want a big light just above the car, you can make it huge. Yeah, so again, this is up to you. Play with it and try to get result. Go to advanced parameters, take custom, because otherwise the light won't give you any light. That's also important. And you adjust the light intensity with the multiplier and shadow samples. Now that hugely affects your rendering time. The more shadow samples you're gonna set, the better quality the soft shadows are gonna have. Now again, for sake of rendering, you can be somewhere in the 16 to 32 area. But of course, if you have 6 processors computer, you can set thousands samples. Yeah, that's another point. I've seen people complaining about hard edges and renders of other YouTubers, but hey, guys, it's for sake of, saving yourself a headache and time, because it makes a huge difference if you render one frame of your animation for 25 minutes or 5 minutes, okay? So and since we are not some large Hollywood studio and render farm is hugely expensive, we gotta set our sampling accordingly. That's the whole thing. Okay, so now I don't know which model of car you have, but you can retexture it. One way to do it is just overwrite all materials and just drag it onto your model. But if your model is organized, then the best way to do it is, for example, if I click on this chassis, I go to object properties, and there I see material name which is assigned onto this object. So I just go back and find a material in a material editor. Okay, so it works like that. Okay, so click the material and type car paint. Now this car paint material is also in max 10 as far as I know. Now I don't need to drag this material over since it will automatically update since it's already assigned. Okay, let's say we want a black color. Black is nice, and we gotta switch light facing color to white, because in reality, if light or sunlight is hitting black car, you noticed it has these white spots, flakes. Those metallic flakes. May want to set their weight to a little less, or you can do insanely flaked material, but I think 0.5. And these settings you can safely leave default, and that's what I'm talking about. Hit F9, test your work, and if you don't like it, go back, readjust. Like I said, it's up to you. Now I'm running this on sampling 1/4 to 4, I think, which is low quality, but yeah, it renders one image reasonably time-wise. Okay, so this is the result you're gonna get. Yeah, you can adjust the light facing color, make it darker. If you make it black, the hood will, like I show you, the hood of course go dark. Like so. Okay, this may be even nicer, but I'm not saying this is necessarily realistic. And this car paint material is pretty much ready to go. Yeah, it's included. It's an Autodesk material. So that's the car paint. Yeah, if you want to try silver, you try different colors, then you can get there. Next material is going to be window material, glass material. Now for this render, window glass, It's clear glass. Now for this render, I used Autodesk Solid Glass, which again comes in Max 13. I think this may not be solution for Max 10, but you can do similar material with Arch and Design glass material, which I show you later. But type in Autodesk Glass. Oh, sorry. Autodesk Solid Glass. Double click, and the only catch here is just setting the reflectance. Okay, refraction you can leave it like this, and now the more reflectance you're gonna set, the more tinted the glass will look like. Okay, so if I crank it up insanely, this is what's gonna happen. As you can see, it looks very heavily tinted, and it reflects the whole HDRI. Now these car paint materials and glass and all the good stuff is it's very rendering heavy. Yeah, so it takes a while. Yeah, but I can see now we got this. Yeah, I think you got the idea. It's just for representation. Okay, so I'm gonna set it somewhere like 4 or 5, maybe okay. And you just safely leave all the other attributes default. Yeah. Okay, so next material we want to do is those headlights and taillights materials. Now for the taillights I used Arch and Design, and again just click the materials and go Arch and Design, select template, use glass thin geometry, go to color, set it to red, and set the refraction color to red as well, a little lighter, and set the BRDF to custom, or maybe even by index of refraction. Now what I used in the silver example, I used custom reflectivity function, and to crank it a little bit down, and it gave me something like this. Okay, so this is what I got from the test render. It took a while, and I like it a lot. But if you want to introduce a little more red, you either go back to index to reflection by the index of refraction, or you just simply crank the reflectivity under 0° angle lower. Okay, so that's the idea. You can leave it, and I just demonstrate. If you do it by index of refraction, yeah, it introduces back the red, and it will be a lot less reflective, essentially making the tail light look a little plasticky. But hey, it's up to you. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. So this is how can you create glass. Now again, the front blinkers, I don't think I need to tell you what to do with these. It's the same principle. Arch and Design, okay, diffuse color, refraction color to orange, and again play with BRDF. So those were the lights, and next thing is gonna be the metal for the rims and stuff like that. So again, I'm using Autodesk Metal, which is a preset that comes with 3D Max. I want it to be chrome, and I want satin, and here I just enable ambient occlusion. And again, yeah, the way you can find your material is either drag it over on all of the 4 rims, or if you got a model that is organized already, just find which material is assigned. Now obviously this model is organized, everything is described. But if you got a model that doesn't have descriptions in materials and just numbers, here you can find out which one it is. So that's essentially the metal material, and yeah, it's that easy. Now last thing you want to create is the leather for the interior, and again that's also piece of cake. You just I got it here again. Yeah, either create a new material, then okay, go to Arch and Design, select the template, and where it is, yeah, here, leather. Now by default it makes this kind of luxurious reddish color, and the way you can change that, since the color is mapped on noise, just just click the color and change it to your liking. Yeah, it's that easy. So that's pretty much all of it. I hope this tutorial has been useful, and I cannot stress enough, it's about testing. Yeah, adjust the settings, create light, hit F9. If you don't like it, readjust, go back and forth and play with it. You can do it for 1 hour, you can do it for a week, and if you've done this 100 times, then your next renders, hey, you're gonna be finished in 10 minutes, like in this tutorial, nearly 10, maybe a little over, but hey. Okay, this has been Johnny Mnemonic, and bye.